Hello and welcome to the channel. In this video I'm going to show you some photos I took in Glacier Lagoon in Iceland. Glacier Lagoon is located on the eastern, actually southeastern side of Iceland. It's an area where many icebergs break off of the glacier and get stuck in this lagoon, and provides pretty interesting place to photograph, but it does provide challenges as well in terms of separation, scale. Lighting is always an issue in Iceland due to both rather intense sunlight on those few days that you get it, as well as being very overcast, and you can get both pretty close together on the same day. So I had to deal with a little bit of that, but one of the things that I really liked, because we did have some really nice bright light, was the fact that we had some really nice blues coming out. And so trying to bring that out in the photos as well, which is a little bit different from my normal style. I usually like things to be a little bit warmer, but I thought having cooler images definitely helped. And so I will just walk you through how I approached photographing here and show you some of the results. So one of the things I'm really liking here is I'm really liking the blue ice, some of the clear ice that's sticking up. As we pan over, one of the things we'll see is that some of the ice is actually kind of dirty, has a lot of gravel and rock in it. But there are some pieces that are really pretty nice. And so when we look at this piece right here, well, that's something that looks like I can do quite a bit with. So I think I'll see what I can capture for that one. So this reminded me a little bit of horns that you would see in like an animal. So I thought this would be kind of an interesting thing to work with. And one of the things about this was the sun was really making this look really nice and blue. So I thought maybe taking a little bit lower of an angle, going straight across, trying to minimize some of the background would look pretty nice. And so I came up with this version for this particular iceberg. And then I started looking around at some other ones and kept going back to the one that was sort of anvil shaped. And I thought this was really kind of interesting with the two triangles kind of opposing each other. And so this was a second image that I took. And both of these, realistically, they seemed like a really good starting point, but like a lot of places that you go where there's so many subjects, you have to start someplace and you quickly discover that maybe I need to do a few other things different. So one of the things I noticed right away was that looking at this, I really couldn't tell if this was on the shore, if it was in the water. There wasn't really good separation. So the next thing I wanted to do was to go and look at some of these other icebergs and figure out how can I have a little bit of separation to show that they're actually in the lagoon as opposed to on shore, and that there's multiple ones out there by working with the negative space. Looking around, I was able to find this one smaller iceberg that was moving just in front of the other one and almost had some clearance between them. There's a little bit of overlap. But the nice thing about these things is they are moving as they're all moving out towards the ocean. So just waiting a little bit allowed that little bit of separation. So I did like this a little bit better because it did show a little bit more depth and did show that these things are actually floating out there in the lagoon. But I thought that maybe I could get just something a little bit better. So I tried this lower angle, which I did like this a lot better actually. I think the low angle really did kind of help. But I still wasn't getting a really nice view of overall what this lagoon looked like. And so they did have some hills that you can climb up on. So I decided to do that and take a high angle view of the lagoon. And this I really liked. I thought the spacing looked really nice. And this actually turned out to be one of my favorite images from the day. But there's still really one more thing I needed to try to figure out. And that was, how was I going to show some scale? How big are these things? As I mentioned earlier, they really weren't as big as you would think, but they were pretty decent size. I don't know how far below the water, how deep the water was, but certainly the area above the water. And one of the things that I noticed is that there were people kayaking. There were also people in Zodiacs. There was even a tour duck vehicle that would take people out next to them. And I thought that would really be perfect. We know how big people are, know how big kayaks are, we know how big Zodiacs are. So I thought this would be kind of the perfect thing. In this shot, I managed to get somebody kayaking. I think this was actually probably the leader of one of the tour groups that was going out there. Nice positioning, actually took several shots, and I liked this one the best in terms of where he was with relation to the iceberg itself. And then there was also the shot with the person in the Zodiac, and I think this was sort of a support person for all the various tours because they seemed to go between a lot of different areas, but they were heading back in, and I saw them coming by this one particular iceberg. I thought this was going to really be pretty nice with how that looked. And so these were some of the things that I thought did a pretty good job of showing scale. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back with another one next week. This time it'll be documenting the challenge we had, first locating puffins and then also photographing the puffins during our trip to Iceland. So if you like this, please hit like. If you'd like to be notified when new videos come out, please hit the subscribe button. Thanks. Bye.